Hello and welcome back to the last day of the 12 days of Creepmas. I'm really gonna miss saying that, I really am. But anyways, today, my dog, the noises this dog makes, he just grumbles all the time. It's hilarious. If you ever hear weird noises, it's that dude. Anyways, so this should be like the day that I had planned the most, right? But I didn't. In fact, I made a list of what I wanted to do each day. And then as I'm going through the list, I'm like, nobody wants to watch this. Nobody wants to see that. So I tried to make them a little bit more, I don't know, entertaining, like more videos that I would typically upload. All that to say that I really don't have anything planned today. So what I did was I asked you guys on Instagram if there's anything specific that we should talk about. And then I also asked you guys on my last video. So we're just gonna kind of go through all of these things together and just, yeah, it'll be a cluster of videos all put together for this like last day of Creepmas. I am gonna miss posting videos every day, but I'm not gonna miss feeling rushed to edit. I really do enjoy the editing process and I don't like feeling like I didn't get to spend enough time doing what I wanted to do. We didn't get through these extreme Christmas horror books, so I'm just gonna do a reading vlog of these two, and that'll probably go up on Sunday, so I'll still be posting 3 days a week, you know, and I'll still be uploading at least stories on Instagram, so I'll still be with you guys all during Christmas. But this has been really fun and I'm just very grateful for anybody who has watched. Holidays could be a pretty tough time, and so to have a few days where I just focused on doing fun Christmas stuff, it was a blast and I have enjoyed this month very much so far, and I really do feel like I've celebrated this month more than I have in the last decade. So thank you very much for coming along with me for that. And if you guys are having a rough time during the holidays, know that you are not alone and there's a bunch of us right there with you. But anyways, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was 2024 most anticipated horror thriller books. So I don't usually do videos like this. I mean, I could just tell you the bunch of horror books that are coming out, but I don't know how helpful that is. But instead what I did was I looked at some lists and then I googled some of my favorite authors and just kind of hoped that they were releasing books in 2024, and it turns out that most of them are. So I have a few books that I want to share with you that will be coming out next year that I'm very excited about. The first one, Simone St. James, is coming out with another book. I have read her The Sundown Motel and The Broken Girls and absolutely love them. This new book is called Murder Road, and it just says that a couple find themselves haunted by a string of gruesome murders committed along an old deserted road in this terrifying new novel. So very excited for that. I believe that her work is in the horror section, but it is kind of a fusion of horror and thriller. Another one that I wanted to talk about was How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. This is the same writer of Suffer the Children, a book that I really enjoyed previously. I haven't read any of his other books, but this one sounds pretty interesting. I will definitely keep my eye out for this in 2024. Oh, there's release dates for these. So Murder Road will be published March 5th, right before my birthday. So maybe I will purchase that one for a birthday book haul. The How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey will come out June 18th. And it says it is a darkly humorous horror novel that sees a famous 80s slasher director set out to shoot the most terrifying horror movie ever, made using an occult camera that might be, and probably is, demonic. So that sounds really fun. And then I think that was kind of it for this list. However, Darcy Coates is releasing a book in 2024, and to be honest, she's probably going to release more than one. I think she has been on par to release like 2 or 3 books each year, which is rather impressive. But so far, the only one that comes up is The Hollow Dead. This is the Gravekeeper number, yeah, it must be number 4. The Twisted Dead came out this year, and so we have The Hollow Dead, which is coming out next year. And this one is just about, I'm not going to read the back because it's part of a series of books, but it's basically about this girl who wakes up in the woods, can't remember her past life, but she knows she's being chased by men. So she runs to a nearby town and kind of befriends a group of friends there, and they try to help her uncover her past. And she can also see ghosts, and so she tries to help them, like the spirits, move on. And yeah, so that's the series for that one. There is also a new Stephen King book of short stories coming out, and it is set to release May 21st, 2024, and it's called You Like It Darker. And yeah, it's just a collection of 12 tales never before published. So interested to see that. I'm a pretty big fan of his short stories, so we'll see how that is. And then I'm very excited for this one. Ronald Malfi has quickly become one of my favorite horror writers this year. Like, truly blew me away with the books that I read from him. So he's coming out with another book called Small Town Horror, and that will be released June 4th, 2024. And the description for this one just says, maybe this is a ghost story, ... Andrew has left his past behind, rising up to the ranks in the New York law firm with a heavily pregnant wife. He is settling into the new life far from Kingsport, the town in which he grew up. But when he receives a late night phone call from an old friend, he has no choice but to return home. Coming home means returning to his late father's house, which has seen better days. It means lying to his wife, but it also means reuniting with his friends. Eric, now the town's sheriff. Dale, a real estate Mongol living in the shadow of a failed career. His childhood sweetheart Tig, who could never escape the town. And poor Meech, whose ravings about a curse upon the group have driven him to drugs and alcohol. Together, the five friends will have to confront the memories and the horror of a night years ago that changed everything for them. Because Andrew and his friends have a secret. A thing they have kept to themselves for 20 years, something that no one else should know, but the past is not dead, and Kingsport is a town with secrets of his own. One dark secret, ... one small town horror, ... So I'm very excited for that. If you guys haven't checked out any Ronald Malfi books, I mean, this is giving me the same feels as like Black Mouth, so very excited to read that one as well. And the only other one that I found that I'm pretty excited for is Lucy Foley has a new novel coming out called The Midnight Feast. This is set to release June 18th, 2024, and it just has her, you know, typical back of her books. It just says, welcome to the opening weekend of The Manor, a luxury resort built on the top of old secrets in an ancient wood. The founder, the lover, the mystery guest, the kitchen help, the detective, all have an agenda, all have a past, but not everyone will survive. The Midnight Feast. So very excited for that thriller. So those are just kind of books from authors that I've read before that I'm excited about. I know that there will be more during the year, and I'll let you know as the year progresses. But anyways, let's get back to what else you guys think that we should talk about. I got a few like reading TBR kind of stuff, and this one just says like book/horror resolutions for next year. I think really I'm gonna try to, I mean, I'm gonna keep reading horror books, but I'm gonna try to at least read one classic novel a month, because I haven't made enough time to read books that I loved reading, that really started, or I guess really picked up my reading journey. Like when I was in college, we read a lot of classic novels, and that's when I started consuming novels at a quicker rate. And so what I'm excited for horror-wise, I gotta tell ya, mark my words, 2024 will be the year that I defeat House of Leaves. So you guys have asked me a million times if I've read this. I haven't, I own it, but it is quite intimidating when you pick it up, but I will conquer this beast in 2024. So that is something that I'm definitely excited about, and also to read more like classic novels and maybe a little bit more into other genres. I haven't made enough time for science fiction this year or other genres that I really do enjoy, because I've been kind of stuck with horror thrillers, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I would really like to get back into kind of what started my ravenous hunger for literature. A lot of people asked for my favorite horror movies. Most of them were like Christmas, but some of them were winter. Honestly, this year, because I usually do go through and watch a ton of Christmas horror movies. I watched Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Santa's Sleigh, and all of those types of movies. But I think this year, I'm honestly just really excited to watch the original Black Christmas. That's my favorite Christmas movie ever. And then also Krampus. I watched that every single year. I love that movie. It's one of my absolute favorites. And then other than that, obviously I'm gonna watch Die Hard. I know that that's not a horror movie. It is a Christmas movie though, so if you disagree, you can suck it. And so I will definitely watch that. And then this has nothing to do with anything, but when I was a kid, we used to watch the Garfield Christmas special, and my husband and I watched it last year, and it will forever be a tradition. I think it's free on Amazon, and it's just, you know, a quick episode of Garfield, but it just brought back so much nostalgia when I was watching it, and it just reminded me of childhood. So if you guys grew up watching that, I highly recommend you go and check it out again, because that was a blast. But this year I probably won't have all that time, because I want to get a lot of reading done for the rest of the year, so I probably won't watch as many Christmas movies as I typically would. And then as far as just snowy movies, I'll probably throw The Thing in there because I just want to do that movie versus book. Oh, this one was interesting. My favorite extreme horror books and why. So I'm going to do an entire video talking about all the extreme horror books that I've read this year. But my favorites so far, I would say, are Dead Inside. I always want to say Dead Alive, but no, sorry, that's a movie. Dead Inside. And also His Pain. The reason I love these is because they're really dark, disturbing, messed up stuff happens in them, but I found something really beautiful beneath the surface of them, and I'll go into more detail in that video. And another one of my favorites was Gone to See the Riverman. That book was just so unique. I loved the way it was written. It was very imaginative, and I loved the character. And again, we'll talk more about her and like why I loved her and the character development surrounding her in that video. But I think that those three have been my top favorite extreme horror books just off the top of my head. I'll have to look at my notes to see, you know, the full ranking and everything. Somebody asked how I feel about Let the Right One In. I've read just the smallest amount of it, but it is much darker than the movie from what I can remember. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty dark, it's pretty messed up. I just got to one part that I was like, oh my gosh, this is more disturbing than some of the more disturbing books that I read this year. Oh, and then also somebody asked if I spend all night reading. So typically what I try to do if I'm not filming and editing and uploading every day is I try to break my reading down in 4 parts. So I try to read 25 pages at 4 sittings a day. And obviously that's not always how it works, but that's what I try to do, and that's what I found easiest to consume 100 pages a day. So that's my goal each day, but obviously, like if I'm doing something like this, I've only been reading like 20 to 50 pages probably most of these days that I've been editing and uploading. But yeah, so I will, like, as soon as I get up, read 25 pages and then, you know, go do normal everyday life stuff. And then a few times at night, yeah, I'll sit down and read 25 pages. And yes, I do stay up late. I have trouble sleeping. I'm on a horrible schedule. I also worked nights for a few years. I was teaching English classes online to, sorry, I know somebody else said it's not one of your videos unless your phone beeps like that, but my camera stops recording after like 20 minutes, so I have to keep track of when I have to reset the camera. So yeah, I apologize. I know that's very annoying. What was I saying? Oh yes, so I was working nights out of college, and I was teaching English classes to kids over in China online, so I was on Chinese time for like a few years, and so I think that super messed me up, along with not really having a schedule to begin with and having trouble sleeping for a few years. And so I'm still working on that. I don't have the best relationship with sleep, but I do read a lot of nights, yes, because I don't really sleep that well. And then the best Christmas horror film, I would say, is definitely Black Christmas. I think that movie is so disturbing on a fundamental level, and I know that it's an older film. I think it's from 74 or something, so it's an older horror film, and you could argue about the acting or whatever, but there's just something so creepy about not seeing the killer in a film, and just the way that he appears, and the voices, and it's just such a creepy film. It's inspired so many movies that came after it, and I truly think one of the best movies. I also don't mind the first remake. I watch that one sometimes too. I think it's fun for just like a fun little slasher, but obviously not a classic like the original. Let's go over to the video from yesterday and see if there's any comments over there. Okay, yeah, so this was my TBR, my plans for reading the upcoming year. I don't really have, here's the thing, I know a lot of people do videos where they're like, my TBR for this month. I cannot do that. Like, I have a TBR card of books that I would like to read, but I have to pick the book after I've already finished the book that I was currently reading. I cannot plan ahead what I'd like to do. There are so many videos that I want to do and amazing books that I want to read, but I cannot plan them ahead of time. So as far as like my TBR, is going to be tentative and going to change month from month, day to day, honestly, because I'll be like, I really want to read this book, and then it just all depends on what I've been consuming before. I really like switching up the genres that I'm reading, and so if I'm reading a bunch of extreme horror books, I'm gonna want to switch that up and read a cozy mystery or a thriller, something a little bit lighter. And I just like the juxtaposition of different things. So I cannot tell you what I will be reading this year other than those few new books that are coming out. I can almost guarantee I will read all of those. And I mean, I've got a million books that I haven't read yet. So I have plenty that I would like to read, but I don't know, I can't give you like a list of books that I for sure will read in 2024 because it's all gonna change. Oh, and then a lot of you said that you really liked The Wager, and so I'm very excited to read that. And one of you said that you did recommend it to me. So yeah, maybe I was just mixing it up with a different book, but I probably did get a recommendation for it. So thank you, because that is the reason why I bought it originally. So very excited. And you guys also said that you really enjoyed Day of the Triffids too, so I'm very excited for that as well. Somebody correct my pronunciation. It's not Triffids, Triffids, not Trifids. Triffids. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I'm surprised by how many people said that they really enjoyed that book, so I'm gonna have to read that one soon. Oh, somebody also said movie recommendations, but also their book adaptations too. And so, yeah, this is pretty cool. Oh yeah, The Fisherman, that is what I was thinking of, because they said that the cover is similar. That's the book that I thought I was being recommended from The Wager. But anyways, let's do this one. This will be fun. So good book recommendations that are good as films as well, like that I liked both of them. I really like The Meg. I think that that's a good book to read. It's just called Meg. And yeah, it's really fun. I know that some people aren't into those types of movies, but the book does take the subject a little bit serious and try to get a little bit more scientific. I think I Am Legend is definitely worth reading. I think that The Exorcist is definitely worth reading. Psycho. I would say Jaws too, just because you get to see kind of where the characters started, but I don't entirely love the characters in the Jaws book, but there are some cool things in there that I do like, but I think I prefer the book Beast to Jaws. Rings is a wild one. If you guys have not seen my video on Rings, I highly suggest looking that up. You know, the movie The Ring. Wow, that is one of the weirdest books I have absolutely ever read, and I was just like, what the fuck am I reading? Yeah, that's still one of the weirdest books that I've ever read. So I do recommend that if you just want something weird. And then also like The Hellbound Heart for Hellraiser and Who Goes There for The Thing. So yeah, I would recommend all of those books to read, and all of those movies are great as well. You said specifically Christmas ones, but I don't necessarily know that I have Christmas books and movies, so hopefully that was still interesting enough. Somebody said I'm gonna miss this series. I'm gonna miss it too. But I'm also gonna be very happy to not stay up every night till 4 o'clock in the morning editing. How about a nice Dr. Seuss book once in a while? Okay, yeah, I do have a Dr. Seuss book recommendation for you. This is my favorite, The Sneetches and Other Stories. And you know why this was my favorite all growing up? You'll never guess it. Because there's a horror story in here. The guy with the green pants. What was I scared of? But they have the green pants with nobody inside. Yeah, you thought I was just trying to recommend a nice book for you, but no, I'm still recommending a horror book, even if it is Dr. Seuss. Anyways, that's my favorite Dr. Seuss book. Another one of those like fundamental stories that really got me loving horror, even though it's not a horror book. But that is a really funny comment. I really like that. Okay, somebody said laughing my ass off at when I opened the book that I got, this, and looked at the front. Do you guys not do this? Do you guys not look at and see like how the book looks on the inside? I'm like, oh, maybe that's something that people don't do. Maybe that's a weird thing. But I love looking through and seeing the colors that are chosen and the text. And oh, actually, let me show you a surprise in one of those books. I found this because I do weird shit like that, but let me show you this. So this is Chuck Palahniuk's Adjustment Day, and this is not my favorite Palahniuk book, to be honest. It's one of my least favorites. However, if you take off the sleeve, it says it's by Talbot Reynolds, Adjustment Day, and I can't remember exactly what this book was about, but I do remember that this person wrote this Adjustment Day book in the book. So it was just like a fluke thing that I uncovered by taking the jacket off, because I always like to see what's underneath, that there's like this hidden book that it's attributed to one of the characters in the book who wrote this book. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I thought that this was one of the coolest things. And so yeah, I always peek under the jackets because you just never know what you're gonna find. Okay, yeah, so I think that's kind of most of everything that people were saying. I know there were recommendations about like my favorite books that I've read this year and things like that, but those will all be full-length videos. Let's talk about kind of moving forward, what the rest of the year will look like, and going forward into 2024, some other video ideas that I have, and then you guys feel free to leave any recommendations of videos that you guys would like to see in the future. Toward the end of this year, I want to make a few videos. I'm obviously going to do the best books I've read this year. I will probably do ranking the second half of books that I've read, and I will list every book that I've read in another video as well. I also want to do how much money I spent on books this year, because I think that might be kind of interesting and a little scary to see how much book addiction costs. So I was thinking about doing that, and then I will do an extreme horror ranking, like I said. Moving forward, I will do more movie versus books. I have quite a few of them. The Thing will definitely be the next one because it's wintry, but I also really want to do Total Recall, so that will be on my list soon as well. And I also want to do Suspiria. Those are like my 3 movie versus books that I have planned in stone that will be done sometime eventually. I also want to get through books that I was sent. So people sent me books throughout last year. Yeah, it was definitely before I moved. And so I'm gonna read those and do a video on those. I'd like to do a video on the most difficult books to read. And so I do have a list going for that as well. And then I have some just like weird video ideas. I kind of want to read the Satanic Bible and just see what that's about. And I do have other longer format books like Swan Song that I want to get into. I also have The Witching Hour, I think it's called. So those are a little bit larger books that I want to get read this year. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited for 2024 and to just see what we can do with this channel. Oh, let me show you a few books that I bought. I don't think I've showed you this one actually. I purchased this one. It's called Girl Flesh by May Leitz, but it's an extreme horror love story. No, an extreme horror story about love. And the back just says, 2 women wholly enraptured in their professional lives find themselves thrust into a Texas mesa with nowhere to go and no one to trust. Angie is chronically timid, guilt-ridden, internet writer, lost in a life she didn't choose. Carolyn is an ironic, nihilistic musician, pleased to find herself away from her responsibilities. They face unknown dangers and vast darkness, lost in a place without comforts. Will they succumb to the elements or find strength in their bond enough to escape? So this is my first May Leitz book, and I'm excited to read this one. I bought this one a while ago, but I just forgot to show you. And then I also borrowed The Black Farm from my friend by Elias Withrow, and a lot of you guys have recommended this one. I'm not going to read the back to this one because I kind of don't want to know going into it. I also borrowed The Silent Patient because this is, for better or worse, everyone's favorite thriller novel in the world. So I borrowed that from my friend as well. I'm going to try to do at least 1 or 2 more extreme horror reading vlogs before the end of the year, and I really want to get some of those weird romance books read too. So I don't know, we'll see. But those are my ideas moving forward. I'll check back in before the end of the night, and then we'll close out the 12 days of Creepmas together. Okay, I am just ending this video now. I just wanted to double check and make sure that there weren't any other things that you guys wanted me to talk about. Oh, this one just popped up. Doesn't reading all those extreme horror novels take or have a toll on your mental health? I gotta be honest with you, no, it doesn't. I think that the more you read them, truly the more desensitized that you get, and they just affect you less and less. But no, like I've said before, it's the less intense books that mess with my head more, and I don't know what that's about or why that happens. Those ones don't mess with me. I don't know why. I'm not sure, but they don't stay on my mind usually. They don't bother me in the way that some like light horror novels do. So yeah, no, I would say no, but I do take breaks from them, and that's why I don't read them all the time. I definitely need time away from them and to read other genres. And while I'm reading them, it usually takes me longer throughout a day to finish one, because I'll take more breaks and just, oh, what's going on up here? I just take more breaks while I'm reading. Somebody asked what my least favorite horror character is, but that's something that I would have to think so hard about. I don't even have one off of the top of my head. I can't even think of an answer to that. I apologize. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching and coming with me over the last 12 days. I definitely pushed myself to get out of the house more, which is really what I wanted, and to enjoy the holiday season a little bit more, which I absolutely did. And it's really all thanks to you guys. So thank you for spending the holidays with me and making my December a little bit brighter. I've had a blast doing this. I wish I could do this every day. I wish I had interesting things going on in my life that was like interesting enough to film every day, but I just don't. I was even struggling for these 12 days. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for sticking along with me. As per usual, I will continue uploading 3 days a week: Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So I will see you on Sunday after this video goes up. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your guys' plans are for 2024. You're reading, like the books that you want to read or upcoming books that you're excited about. But other than that, I just wanted to give a big thank you, and I will see you on Sunday with another horror video. Bye guys.